I'm going to go to a different sample project that I've created for psychology. I think psychology and social science in general are great examples of large disciplines where there are many different types of research artifacts that are created that justifiably could and probably should be cited directly. But until we came up with the artifacts platform, there's just no reasonable way to do that. So switching topics a little bit away from JBBA here, but I still think this will be relevant to everyone listening in. So essentially what I've done is I've created this sample project, talked a little bit about what we hope to do with the artifacts here. I've added a few artifacts that I've started a draft paper. I've added a data set. I've collected a few other things that sort of as background. And I've actually created this little chart. So again, Dave and I are contributors to this chart. We very likely will use this chart in a published paper at some point, maybe in a presentation. But we've added it here as an artifact because we feel that it's valuable and we've put some effort and thought into it. And we would certainly like other psychology researchers to be able to build on and cite this chart on its own. Another detail here I want to get into, if you remember at the beginning, Dave said, all right, so one of our fundamental value propositions is to help folks secure the provenance and to sort of protect and timestamp their intellectual property. And the way we do that is, again, through this blockchain integration with the bloxberg infrastructure. And so the specific mechanism, and this gets a little bit jargony here. This is something that I think certainly blockchain folks and early adopters are pretty interested in. Every user of artifacts doesn't necessarily have to pay attention to this, but we'll just highlight it quickly here because I think it's a little interesting. So we have what's called a transaction hash. So this is my file. When I initially uploaded it into my project, I click this button. It says proof of existence. Again, a little bit more jargon. Essentially that says, okay, take the metadata from this file, do a transaction to the bloxberg blockchain. So, and then that takes usually a few seconds. I've done that already for this. So now we've linked over to the bloxberg infrastructure. So essentially the transaction from our artifacts web application, we've sent information via an API directly to bloxberg. And now bloxberg, they have all their own technology and their own system that sort of verifies that artifacts and these users are allowed to make these transactions. They do all kinds of things where they reconcile across the different nodes in their network, and you come up with what's called a transaction details. Now, some of this looks really, really technical and pretty dense, and I realize that. And so, again, no one needs to be an expert or understand what all these numbers and letters mean in order to benefit from artifacts. But just for the purposes of the webinar, we'll highlight some of this. But I think probably what's most interesting and most relevant is that we actually transact some of this metadata from artifacts, so from the file that Dave and I had created, or any of you that are uploading or creating things on your own. We purposely add in some metadata that is humanly readable. And again, this is for the benefit of making this information more discoverable so that other users, again, can build on this work and ideally cite and help Dave and I get credit and build our reputations. So that's why our names are in here. And maybe even most importantly, we put in some very specific keywords that will then be indexed and searchable. And that's the connection between the traditional scholarly metadata for really any kind of digital scholarly output. And here it is sort of permanently stored into the blockchain.